Doctors, dental team members, did you all know that digital images, digital x-rays, oral facial images, panos, did you know that they are free? They're free. They don't cost us anything. Unbelievable. And that's where we're going to start our podcast today, right there.
Computers are live, mixers up, levels are good, equalizers good, ready channels 1 and 2. Mic is live in 3, 2, 1, roll it. Welcome, listeners, to the My Practice, My Business podcast, where we teach dentists and their teams how to reclaim forgotten profitability in dentistry with our clinical business of dentistry training. And now, the host of our show, the clinical director at My Practice, My Business, Dr. Rob Thorup.
Welcome, podcast listeners. It's Dr. Rob with My Practice, My Business. Glad to have you here this Monday or whatever day of the week you tune into us. Hey, thanks so much for listening to us, and we appreciate you being here. And don't forget to give us a 5-star review, if you would. If you want to give us less than a 5-star, please don't give us anything. But today's topic is digital imaging and how free it is. Oh my gosh. I about died. My wife was listening to some people talk in some other offices and listening to them talk about how digital images, they don't cost us anything. They're not like it's not like analog images where we have film and developers and anything like that. That digital images are just free. And then we were talking about that several months ago, and then she showed me a forum that she's on, and without going into names, I want to read this. It's like this office manager was frustrated. She says, "I'm at my wit's end. So at a staff meeting, I talked to the docs about just taking a full mouth series on a patient if I can't locate their old info easily, or they are a few years old. Oh gosh, you would have thought that I asked for $1 million. They freak out about how we don't work for free. I get it. So you're paying me over an hour's wages to hunt this stuff down, but can't just take it as a courtesy. Ugh, venting." End of quote. So I read that and I go, okay, office manager, first of all, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I'm kind of on your side a little bit. But don't use that courtesy word. Holy crap. That just makes me cringe every time I hear that word. We do it as a courtesy. But here's the thing. What if the doc is right? You don't work for free. It isn't free. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. So she had some responses, and there was a lot of responses. So I'm just going to read a few of them. Here's the first one. Quote, "That's frustrating. You'd think they would want it. It's most current." End of quote. And then another OM says, "If you bill bite wings and a PA or two, it's usually only a couple dollars short of a full mouth series fee. Maybe it will shut them up and you have your full mouth series." Now, but is it being 100% honest? Is it the right thing to do? You're taking bite wings and a pano, you should be charging for that. Calling it PAs, that's just not the right thing to do. Let's keep it honest. Let's keep it real. The next person says, "Correct, 4 bite wings and 3 PAs." And this other person says, "Exactly." And then another office manager gets on. Here we go. "We take it as a courtesy if we can't get access to existing current x-rays. It's 5 minutes of time, and digital x-rays cost us nothing." Oh my gosh. Next person says, "The right way to treat a patient is diagnosis with a full mouth series. It's not about the dollars." And I'm just going, oh my gosh. It's not about just breaking even. It's about having profitability in the practice or corporate profits in the tune of 35 to 45% at the end of each month. So when you say it's not about the money, yeah, it actually is about the money when you own your own business, when you're self-employed, when you are a dentist in your own practice. And you know what? Your doc's right. You don't work for free. In fact, those x-rays aren't free. Do you know how much money it costs for a sensor? Boy, if you want a Dexus, I don't know, they're still hovering around 10 grand on an average day. Sometimes you can get it less. There's other companies out there that I've been watching, and they're floating around the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 range. And then you've got, of course, I don't know, the software that you have to buy. Sometimes it's packaged with the practice management software you purchase, and it costs you money to purchase that. What about the pano? And heaven forbid you have cone beam, but it doesn't cost anything. Those digital pictures are free. Everything in life is free. Please, please. We've got to make this stop. It's not free. And she's right. It might take you an hour to look for those pictures to get them. But may I suggest something else? What if you say to the patient, you haven't been in for a while, and we've got to get a current set of pictures on you, and we're going to need to take some, and it might be that panel that we need just might be taken a little too soon before your insurance pays for it. How about we do this? Your insurance probably will cover the bite wing films, but they won't cover the pano, and possibly, we don't know. But how about we do this? How about we split it in half? How about if the insurance doesn't cover any of the pictures, we split it in half? Patients love that. Patients will accept that. Let's just back up for a minute, okay? And I want to talk about how we set our fees for a second. You guys have heard me talk about how we set our fees, and everybody gets they get fee surveys from the ADA, or they'll get like I know Henry Schein does this DPAT thing that they're able to look at fees in their geographical area, like by zip code or whatever it might be. Everybody's got some sort of fee type survey that they do, and that's looking at other dentists in the area who are setting their fees based upon other people's fees. And how did they set their fees? I guarantee that they didn't set their fees like every business does by looking at the direct operating costs per hour, the DOC per hour, not the doc. DOC stands for direct operating costs per hour to run your business, and then how long it takes on the average to do that procedure, right? So if we look at how much the DOC per hour is in the hygiene department, which typically runs anywhere between $150 and $200 per hour on the average, depending on the size of the practice. And then you look at how much it costs, you're right, office manager, you look at how much it costs for you to use your time to hunt down x-rays that ought to be there anyway somewhere. If you're using your software properly, it ought to be there. If you're still using analog and you're chasing down old charts or you've filed things away, yeah, you definitely have a problem. Time to come up to the 21st century, get some software, start using digital imaging and radiography, right? Oral facial images, intraoral cameras, digital sensors. Let's go to a digital panel. Let's even step up to cone beam and what it can do for our patients, okay? So if you start looking at all those costs that are associated with digital imaging, it's not free. It costs the business a lot of money to purchase that equipment to take those pictures. Now, in defense of the office manager, you want to have the patient have a great experience, and you also want to look at the big picture. And the thing is if things are presented correctly, you're not going to lose that patient. You're just not. And if you express to the patient, hey, look, again, I've got to have the pictures. I've got to be able to see. And you meet them halfway. And if they push back, great. At that stage in the game, then start renegotiating. But don't give it away for free right off the bat. That is bad. That's bad business. That is bad show. That is not where you want to be. Well, digital imaging and radiography is powerful. And those are the things that we use to help patients understand their condition, not as much as it doesn't affect the patient as much as like taking something home, a document home from My Dental Docs, where it proves the need for treatment and where they can explain their needed treatment to other people in their family. But it is that stepping stone. It's one of what we call one of the 7 touch points to case acceptance is show and tell. So we love to show and tell in using colored pictures from our intraoral cameras and using x-rays, but patients don't understand x-rays as well. Just keep that in mind. And they don't know what they're looking at. Unless it's something clearly obvious that you can show them on the x-ray, that's great. However, they are enthusiastic and love to look at it and kind of pretend like they know what you're trying to show them because they don't want to look stupid, okay? But taking color images is even more powerful. So I hope all of you have intraoral cameras in your office, and there's a little code that goes with that. It's called D0350. And all of you who are taking PPO plans know that I believe it's Aetna requires a picture taken to prove the need for a buildup. Exactly. So you have to take those pictures to prove the need for treatment. And that's another thing. About a third of the insurance companies that we take are paying on D0350. The other 2/3 that don't, what are you going to do with that poor patient that you've got to have that picture on? Are you going to give it away for free? Holy crap, stop it. Medical doesn't. Delta Airlines doesn't. Big O Tires doesn't. Ford Mercury Lincoln doesn't. Come on, there's no business. I can't go to Harmon's grocery store here in Salt Lake and say, hey, can you give me my loaf of bread for free? No. Things cost money. People can't afford it. They can afford dentistry. So get that out of your brain. Please get it out of your brain. We don't do things as a courtesy unless it's that hard single working mom or dad that's got, a couple of children, and you look at them and you go, yeah, okay, bless their hearts. Or that older couple that's on a fixed income, and you go, okay, yeah, maybe those are the people I'm going to help out today, but not as a blanket statement. And you're right. The dentist looks at you and goes, what are you asking? Now, I'm going to put it back on all of you team members, right? If you do something like that for free, not only is the cost of goods coming out of your boss's pocket, he or she is also paying for your time, aren't they? So ask yourself this question next time you say, why can't we just give it away as a courtesy? Are you personally willing to have that money taken out of your paycheck as a courtesy to your boss, as a courtesy to the patient? I don't think so. I'm going to tell you a fun story that happened. Man, when I hear this, I hear that about digital imaging. It doesn't cost us anything because we just take a picture and we don't have to pay for film and solutions and anything. Oh my gosh, it's super expensive. Anyway, I hope I've driven that point home more. I'm probably going to drive it home a little bit more. Just hang on. I'm sure I'll come back to it. Let me tell you about a fun time in my life. My practice was one of the first all-digital practices in the nation. We were first in the Intermountain region, and we were the fourth all-digital practice in the United States. And that makes me actually kind of dumb being an early adopter like that. It's actually, we were a pioneer in the digital arena there many years ago. But because of that, it gave me the opportunity to work with a company called Dentrix, which most of you know, and I lectured for Dentrix on digital imaging and radiography. A guy named Andy Jensen was their chief marketing officer at the time. He was fantastic. He branded their imaging and their oral facial camera, and he did a fantastic job at doing so. And I guess being one of the first all-digital practices made me an expert. And I kind of laugh at that. It's kind of like 50 miles on a PowerPoint and you're an expert on anything. But it was fun to be able to lecture for them. And let me share with you a story that took place. I was lecturing out in the Boston area, and this hygienist and dental assistant happened to listen to my lecture, and they came up to me afterwards. And they said, Dr. Rob, we really want to go all digital in our practice, but our doctor is the roadblock that is not allowing it to happen. What can we do to convince him that this is a good thing? And I said, well, I'll tell you what it really is. It comes down to financing. It comes down to money. The doc probably just cannot see the ROI on this, yet you two have picked up on what the return on investment will be with digital imaging radiography. And I said, why don't you buy the computers for each of the operatories? They had a 3-operatory practice, and so they put computers in all 3 operatories. They put a computer 2 computers up front. They did not put a computer in the doc's office. That was pretty funny. And they ended up buying the image-eye sensors and the intraoral cameras. And they said to the doc before they bought all this, they said, look, here's the deal. We'll purchase the equipment, but we get to keep the income stream off of the code D0350. You get to keep the income stream off of the images. You will no longer have to purchase solutions, fix the auto developer. The place won't stink up anymore. It's a win-win for everybody. And the doc bit. He said, sure, go ahead. Let's do it. I'll show you. We'll be upside down. You're going to wish you never would have done this. It was hilarious. I think the whole total cost for the package at that time was about $37,000 that they funded. They had it paid off in just over 22 months. Completely paid off. They took every amount of money that they earned off of D0350 and they made sure it was collected over the counter if the insurances didn't pay for it. At that time, the majority of the insurances were paying on D0350 anywhere between $22 and $45 a shot, just like they would pay on x-rays. Those two learned a valuable lesson in return on investment in dentistry, but more importantly, the doctor did. That's the power of imaging, but that cost money. It cost them money to purchase it, and it cost them money to do it. And did they allow the office manager to give away the x-rays? No. They were like drill sergeants. No, we're not giving away free x-rays. We're not giving away free oral facial images. This stuff costs us money. We're committed to the doc. The doc's committed to us. Those two worked for that doc for many years thereafter, and boy, I'll tell you, he continued to bonus them on those D0350 codes, and good for him. He stayed true to his commitment. He stayed true to his promise, and those two team members made bank. I love that story. Office managers, it's your job to make income for the practice, not give it away. And think about the precedent also that sets when you tell the patient, it doesn't cost us anything, we'll take it for free. What happens when they come in for the next hygiene appointment and they need x-rays? They're going to think in their mind, well, these don't cost you any money. Why do you guys got to charge me for it? Can't I get these for free? The precedent that you set can be ugly as time goes on. Get paid fairly for what you do. You deserve it. You deserve the raises. You deserve the bonusing. And the doctor deserves to make an income for all the years he or she has gone to school. Thank you so much for tuning into the My Practice, My Business podcast. You can find additional podcasts you may have missed that will help you with your dental practice at Apple iTunes Podcasts. And remember to become a subscriber to our podcast. Many of you have asked how to help support the My Practice, My Business podcast. If you have enjoyed the program and information you received today, the best way to help is to leave us a 5-star review. Thanks again for allowing us to be a part of your day. it's okay to charge for what you do and the services you provide. Office manager, I'm sorry, I side with your doc on this one. Many times I defend you guys all the time, but this one, the doctor is right. However, I appreciate your kind-heartedness and your altruism to want to do what's right for the patient, but first and foremost, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the doctor that you work for and the practice you serve.